All right, so full disclaimer for this video. This video is going to take one leak, and everything else is going to be straight up conjecture, because the only leak we have right now is there potentially will be coming level 100 in 5.0. So, first thing we got to talk about is who will be most improved by level 100 characters. Well, you may notice that I have some EM characters on the team right now and a Nilo on the team right now. The first and most prominent thing that will be improved by a big buff to character level, and why this is good, is EM characters like Nahida, EM characters like Kuki Shinobu, any character that's going to use what's called a transformative reaction. If you know what that is, very briefly, a transformative reaction is basically anything in this line right here. These are the transformative reactions. Line 2 in EM. Everything up here, not affected by level. Anything below this bullet point is. Okay, so the way you calculate elemental master reactions is based upon your character level multiplied by a formula, and the formula will include your EM in some capacity, and that will then give you the total amount of output damage that you get after a certain threshold. If you want to know how much damage you get, well, it's roughly 33% damage increase for elemental reactions for every 10 levels past level 60, I think. And if that's the increase in damage, and it's the relative damage increase, if you wanted to take a look at hyperblooms, let's just say you're hitting a 30,000 hyperbloom now, well, that means that you would hit a 39,000 hyperbloom going forward. If you were hitting a 40,000 hyperbloom, then it would be 40,000 doing that same thing. I believe that would be 52,000, right? Is that right? Something like that. Someone will correct me. But that's what it ends up being. That's why EM characters will receive a massive bonus. And I think this is very necessary for characters that have just come out, like Arlecchino and Nebulet. These types of characters are already getting a massive power creep in comparison to other characters in the game. So it stands to reason that characters that are more elemental master beasts need some type of bump to catch back up to do that. And now this is also kind of like rooted in characters like Chevres too, where we have overload compositions. Right now they're doing about 20,000 on overloads, and hopefully we'll get at some point like 29, 30,000 damage overload, so overload can actually be some type of relevant reaction, so people can actually utilize it, or maybe some kind of additive boost to overload to make that work for characters like Chevres. But yeah, level 100 is very, very helpful for characters like that, so they can actually do damage for free-to-play and budget players that are kind of focused on these transformative reactions a little bit more. I mentioned that the transformative reactions are going to be anything in this line. Al-Haytham and Nahida being transformative characters that utilize these reactions. But what about aggravated spread? Well, aggravated spread will roughly receive about a 20% or so bonus as well. So, and then you also get the defense increase as well as the attack increase from character levels. So yes, you'll get a pretty sizable bonus on aggravated spread characters like Al-Haytham, Sino, and Tainari. Those types of characters will all receive boosts in a very positive manner. So yes, it is a very strong boost for these characters as well. Now, if you are more whale oriented and you want to know what's going to be better, the number one types of characters that are going to be boosted the most are actually defense oriented characters after this point, because they're going to get a base stat increase. Now, I'm going to go into attack characters in a little bit right now. All we know from the leak right now is that we get level 100 coming out. We do not know at all if level 100 is going to include level 100 weapons. No one knows this. Again, we only have one line of text. I will go over level 100 weapons in a bit, but I'm going to go for defense characters as well first. So defense characters are going to get a base defense increase, and if we look at base HP and base defense as overall, they've increased by roughly about 13% when going from 80 to 90 or 70 to 80. So these types of characters will receive a bigger boost because there is no way of getting flat defense besides artifact subset rolls. But in difference to that, there is a flat attack piece part that we do get of 311 attack for all attack-based characters, and of course about almost 5,000 HP from a flat HP from the flower. So every single character in the game will receive these, which will then directly cause a relationship between the amount of total percentage gain that you would have for an HP based character, so defense characters with a slight edge. Also, the other reason that defense characters currently will get a bigger edge, besides Albedo, Chiori, Ito, and Noelle are both defense and attack characters, so they get to double dip on this defense attack kind of thing. So they get the 13% bonus from that stat, but then it will get a small bonus from the attack stuff. Now, Ito is a character that transfers defense into attack, so he's going to get an even bigger bump. Same with Noelle. She's also going to transfer defense into attack. So those characters will get a bigger jump than most characters. Now, going into HP characters, they will get somewhere between a 10 to 12% bump, whereas defense characters get 13 or more percent, so there is a bigger jump there. So HP characters will get a bump. Let's say it's like 10 to 12% or so, give or take. And after that, if the thing that has to happen for attack-based characters to get a bump is attack characters also have to have their weapon level increased, because that will increase the amount of base attack. Because if you, as you guys know, if you're looking at any character's base attack, they also have like super low base attack without a 5-star weapon, without any weapon levels. So if the weapons are able to ascend as well to level 100, that would provide a huge bonus. But if they're not able to level 100, then it will be a problem. Now, certain weapons will get big bonuses from that. For like base attack weapons like the Crane Echo Calling, they'll get huge base attack bonuses. Other weapons will get smaller base attack bonuses but get CV gains. The weapons that are low base attack, the gain on the low base attack weapons is actually not that great, because if they were already at, let's just say 88 crit damage, then they go to 100% crit damage, which is cool for 12% CV, but the base attack will only jump to like, let's just say 600. So it's not a huge gain in the relative amount of crit damage that you already have, because a lot of these characters are pushing like 300 crit damage if they already have that amount, right? So like getting another 12% is kind of like whatever, you know. So when it comes to CV, that's not great. And then it's also kind of whack for certain weapons like Tainari's weapon and for Sino's weapon, because these weapons already have a ridiculous amount of crit rate on them with their 44 crit rate bonus. So there's already going to be a kind of a big problem with these types of weapons. So getting like 4% more crit might not actually be the right direction to go for these characters, and getting more base attack would be really valuable. So it really is going to depend on the character specifically that's going to receive that from the weapon bonuses. Now, the last thing to notice about characters is every character in the game has an ascension stat, and these characters will get like more, like in terms of Alhaitham, they'll get more danger percentage. Certain characters will get more HP percentage, like I don't like Visor, I think. And then certain characters will get more crit rate or crit damage from their ascension stats, so they'll have higher crit ratios. So ascension stats, from what we looked at, it's going to be a pretty minor change for CV characters. It's about 9.6 crit damage, I think. Or like half of that for crit rate. And then for percentage damage characters like Alhaitham, it's like a 7.5% bonus or something like that for what it could be based on the gains that we have currently in the game. So the ascension stat increase is not going to be a major thing for a lot of the characters unless they're really desperate for crit. It could be really good for attack-based characters, but it could also be quite mid if we don't have ascensions for weapons. Okay, now, if you want to know a list of the characters that will be maximally improved based on the criteria that we've just talked about, this is the list of what we have right now for the characters, that will get maximally improved in some regard. And if you're looking for characters that will receive boosts, we kind of like went over like the full breadth on stream to talk about like what will receive the boosts and what characters were in this ranges that we just talked about. And all that stuff. Now, unfortunately, there's certain characters that just won't be good because they're just bad in general, and I'm not going to discuss them right now because that's just a long form conversation on something you may not want to talk about. But there is something else we do need to talk about, and it's called the Genshin economy problem. What we did also is we weren't sure about the last problem of level 100. The last problem of level 100 is going to come into the talent portion. Now, it has been long since theorized that people said that we're going to get talent level 15, because if you go to level 100, we're going to get 2 other talent levels, and that stands to reason. That's why there was talent 15 the entire time. I mean, that might be reaching. We might even just go to talent 14, because one talent gain is pretty big already. When it comes to going for certain characters and getting talent gains on certain characters, that will be a pretty strong boost. But the problem with that is that when you get to higher costs on the characters, it's only about 120,000 at level 7 talent, right? But when you get to the higher tier costs of what it costs for the resources, it goes up to 700,000, right? So, and it also costs a crown, which is another issue. Now, when it comes to talents, we might still go crowns for talent level 11 or whatever. That might still happen. It might still be 700,000. We don't know. Okay. But if we go to a higher talent level, okay, and we go to higher levels, we're also going to have to deal with this Mora problem for leveling our characters to level 100. We're also going to have a hero issue and etc. So I'm a player on I have 3 different accounts right now, and on my free-to-play account, what we did is we did a lot of calculations. Here's my AR60 free-to-play account. Now, before you say I don't really play the account, I literally spent many hours getting like everything I could 100% here. Now, on this account, I farm artifact XP routes, which drains my Mora by about 70k Mora per day. And I ended up getting around a very large amount of artifacts in general. You can count them for yourself. I think it's like 500 at this point. My current Mora count, though, is stupid low. I only have 1.56 million Mora at AR60. Now, a lot of you might have Mora. I only have 12 crowns remaining. I've used a lot of my crowns. And I have some boss materials saved up from everything else. I don't have that many hero wits left over, as you can see. So I do level a lot of characters. And if I look at my character list here, this is the amount of characters that I've leveled to level 90. I have 30 level 90 characters, and I have, I think, 6 level 80. Now, based on this criteria, I have also leveled a lot of these characters' talents really high level. You can see this is the bracket of the characters' talents that I have across the board on all these talents for what I've actually done resource-wise for these characters. Now, again, if we're talking about talents and high talent levels, this is where my Mora account is currently at for leveling all these talents on these characters for 30 different characters throughout the game, right? If I put this many talents in on this many characters, right, then it stands to reason I would have some more left over at AR60, but I don't have any because I farm artifact XP routes and try to level more artifacts and get more artifacts for my characters, right? If you do have a lot of more, great. I don't. I have like none. We actually tried to figure out what the cost was going to be to level every character that I had on my account to max level. And if they double the cost, like they do from 80 to 90 to go to 90 to 100, the double cost would cost me for all my weapons on my account. Here's the weapon box. I have, what is that? 16 5-star weapons and I don't know how many are me? 16 5-stars and 28 4-stars on this box. It would cost me about 25,800 Mystic Enhancement ore if the cost was doubled. It would also cost me about 10,000 hero wits to level all the characters to 100 and 66 million Mora. However, if it's just the same cost as it was before we even get to talents, it would only cost me about 13,000 Mystic Enhancement ore, 5,000 hero wits, and 33 million Mora, and that's before we get to talents. If the talents cost the same, that would be a very, very big increase. So based on my free-to-play account, I'm fucked. Will this be good for free-to-play? It depends on how you play your account, but on my account, it's terrible for me because I don't want to farm ley lines. And if I look at my ley line count, it's not like I don't farm ley lines ever. Like I have farmed them in the past. Here's Journey. I farmed 342 ley lines in 3.5 years, and like I've been AR60 for like 2. So I hope that MiHoYo will give us more Mora or give us a completely different system for leveling our characters, because for a lot of players, this might be a huge burden on them. Every single character and every single weapon that we have to level is a very large amount of output resources that you can go for. My current Mystic Enhancement ore on my free-to-play account, 7,800. So if it was only 5,000, I'm fine. But again, the hero wit problem is rampant. If you're a Battle Pass Welcome player, you'll have a lot more hero wits as well as a lot more Mora than me, because you're getting 2 million more per patch every single patch. And if you don't do artifact routes, you're saving roughly another 3 million on top of that per patch. So if we just do 5 million per patch, right? And the game spit out for what, like 40 patches or something like that? That's like 200 million Mora. So if you're looking to see if there will be an issue resource-wise, well, yeah, there will definitely be a huge resource change to the game. We were talking today about the economy changes for Genshin and what would happen. My theory is that they're going to create some type of new way of doing the characters to level 100, because it's too resource intensive to change the systems that we have right now for more in hero wits. They would have to revamp the resin system to do that, because what they would have to do if we added on world level 100 is, first off, they're going to add a new world level for open world, and the next thing they're going to do, if they do this, they're going to actually increase the domain level. So now you'll get to a level 6 domain on the domains for artifacts. You'll get harder difficulties on, let's just say, the weapon domain for a difficulty 5 weapon domain, a difficulty 5 talent domain, and it'll increase the drop rates there for resin. So it'll be a complete resin overhaul for the system that would accommodate that, so players will be able to have a new system. So in addition to these changes that would potentially happen, there would be other changes to the resin system that are not necessarily talked about. So that would also be a big change when it comes to future plays for Genshin Impact if they wanted to continue on this double route. I think it would also require AR 55 or above to even hit a level 100 based upon how the criteria of the game works. But I don't even know if they'll do that. It might actually be even higher than AR 55. And what they might do in Natlan is they might, since they've talked about this like story progression thing and making the game easier. They could also increase the max adventure rank cap so that right now it's really easy to hit AR 55 in like a month or so. They might actually make it really easy to hit AR 60 and might increase the max adventure rank cap on top of that in order to give players the 60 to 70 bracket, right? And players can then shoot for AR 70, and they can actually make it a lot easier to hit AR 60 within, let's just say, 4 or 5 months, so that you could get like level 100 characters in that time frame. A lot of you know this already. We're getting new endgame mode in 4.7, and we could be getting even further harder game modes in the future. You can see a direct push on MiHoYo to do this ever since Honkai Star Rail. The end game has been very prevalent. People know how they like it a lot, so we might actually see a push for that in Genshin as well based on this change. So the implications of a change in Genshin Impact when it comes to level 100 are far broader than just level 100 characters, because it would actually put a lot of different systems in the game to help fix the balancing issues of level 100. So there's many other things that will have to happen if they want to do that. The only way around it is there's only one way around this huge economy shift that we've just talked about. The only way that I've thought of to like go around the economy shift is with character quests. So for example, per patch, they could come out with like a new character arc story quest that you would then unlock, right? And when you unlock that new character arc story quest, now they have the ability to then ascend to a level 100 after they get their story quest or their new story focus. Now there's been a push in MiHoYo apparently to get more story focused stuff. So maybe instead of exploration, we're getting more story modes that will then allow the characters to ascend to level 100, and then they'll actually just get a level 100 ascension material. So they'll instantly jump from 90 to 100. So there won't be any economy changes whatsoever. That is one theory that I have right now, and that could be the reason they kept the story key system in the game for so long. Maybe they want to do something with the story keys to lock out players so they weren't able to push the account so fast. Maybe that's why the story key bullshit system's been here for so long. I don't know, but it will help long-term players get their strength further. It will help early game players get the characters to their max potential for their favorite character that just came out, whatever it may be, or the character that got reworked in the past. This would allow for more character rework changes without changing the economy. There are many implications for level 100. One of the biggest changes that I saw over the power creep of the last 3.5 years was the passive talent changes. For example, passives in Genshin Impact used to be absolutely dog shit. For example, Venti has a passive talent that is his first Ascension passive talent that just increases the upward current for 20 seconds. You just basically get a tornado in front of you 20 seconds. That's stupid. And then we get characters far into the future that are like Arlecchino. Now, instead of just having one completely dead passive that boosts a character, now we get Arlecchino that has not only one passive that gives you a free blood debt, another passive that gives you damage reduction, she has a third passive that gives you pyro damage. So you can clearly see the power creep gains from the characters just in the passives of the characters and actually having that. So when it comes to older characters that potentially get a story quest or whatever to then improve their power level to 100, like if that does exist, I don't know. Maybe those older characters are going to get some type of improvement that's going to give them another passive. For example, Zhang Ling has been touted for the longest time to have one of the best characters in the game for free-to-play players, but her passives increase global fire range by 20%. That's dog shit. And then the other one, you get the pickled pepper that gives you 10% attack for whoever picks it up. That's dog shit. Imagine Zhang Ling with passives. So there's a lot of ways that can improve the characters from level 100, and these are the implications are far-reaching for what you can do with it. The thing is, no one actually knows what's going to occur in these times, so a lot of this, of course, is conjecture, but of course we can use logic and reasoning to find out exactly what could happen in the future. So let me know what you guys think about the changes to the level 100 system, if we're going to get them, if we're not going to get them. All of this, of course, is subject to change and not even like fully leaked yet. There's been one source on this guy. As most of the leakers are saying, of course, you should take this as sus, and of course, you shouldn't take it as fact and not confirmed. You should take it as this could happen, and if it does happen, this is what will happen. So again, let me know what you guys think. Comment section down below. See you guys.